share the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so today we will discuss about a PDL and a PSET. So before continuing for this, any doubts from you both?
No, Venkat. Venkat,
Venkat.
this M underscore evaluate, you need to run it in command prompt, right?
Yes, yes. All these M commands, air commands has to be evaluated in from the backend. Even we can execute from the GD also by pressing F8. So one window will get open. That is an execute command window. So even there also you can execute it if it is from the GD means.
Yeah, I have tried Venkat, but I'm not getting the output for this.
What is the command you
M,
have?
und- M underscore evaluate 2 plus 3,
Okay.
a small command,
Okay.
but I'm getting some errors.
What is that error?
Uh, Getting some error. I will send you today.
Okay, okay,
I will
fine.
take your screenshot and send.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. You, Ravli, you're asking something?
Not nothing.
Hello?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ask anything.
Okay, okay, fine. So can we start this PDL concept?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So the PDL is a parameter definition language, we call it as. So this is one of the interpretation what we are going to use to resolve the parameters. So at graph level or at the subgraph level, we will be having the parameters and we will be giving some coding. So how to get resolved? It will get resolved even dynamically. So this is a like advanced concept which we have to keep using these PDLs nowadays. So one example I can give you like how this get the PDL parameter will get resolved is, so let's check it like I have 4 parameters in the graph. So far we discussed the parameters only at the component level. So whenever you design the graph, even you can define the parameters. So that we will discuss as part of the preset. So let's take it like we have the parameters, 4 parameters like P1, P2, P3 and P4. And the value of the parameter P1 I have given, let's say like ABC, and P2 I have given like XYZ, and from the parameter 3 I will be giving like a pattern. Let's see, as one of the pattern, and the parameter 4, instead of giving directly the value here, I will be writing some logic because the parameter 3 is like a pattern. So every time it will be keep changing it, depends upon the object behavior. So because I don't know, so in such a case, we have to write at the graph level, and for this parameter P4, I am not expecting any input from the user or the developer. So we have two types of the parameters, input parameter as well as local parameters. So let's say all these 3 parameters are input parameters and P4 is a local parameter. And about this again I will tell you in the preset examples what is this input parameters and why do we require local parameters. So And in such a case, I have defined the below logic. Let's say every PDL has to be written with dollar braces, dollar and these braces. If you can looking out, this is a PDL syntax. And within this PDL, if you are using any of the parameter, again don't put a dollar. Directly we can use a parameter name. But if the interpretation is like dollar substitution or dollar braces substitution, then definitely you have to use a dollar parameter name. But in case of the PDL, don't use the dollars inside this syntax. Directly, if I wanted to use P1, then you use P1. Again, don't put dollar $P1 here, because outside that is get all automatically get resolved to the dollar $P1. So, and I want to resolve the value of the P4 based on the conditions. So let's say like if parameter 1 is equals to ABC, and within a if another if is there, and parameter 2 is not equal to like excuse me, to be set. So by default I will be giving one string like to be set, which gives an information to the developer that says like this parameter has to be given some value. So not equal to be set, then what I'm supposed to resolve is p1 plus is here a concatenation operator, and I want to put underscore plus p2 the parameter, and within the first if else, if it is like equal to be set, then we don't have a value for p2, then it should get resolved p1, and the outer else for the first if also I want p1 to get resolved, and the brace. So this is what the logic I have it. So this syntax get executed every time whenever the graph runs. So and the value for the P4 gets automatically resolved. So in this case, let's say P1 is equals to ABC and P2 is not equal to TBZ. So the value we are going to get is ABC underscore XYZ. Sorry, here I have to get P3. So P1 plus P3. So like this, whatever you want you can write. If it is P2 is like to be set, I have not set any of the values. So in such a case, the else case will get resolved and you will get ABC underscore asset. So if P1 is not equal to ABC, then whatever the value you have it, you will get it resolved. So according to the expressions and the conditions, whatever the value you are expecting to get it resolved, you can achieve this. So this is one way of using the PDL at the parameter level, how to get the value get resolved. And coming to this local parameters and input parameters, I will let you know on the concept of the presets. So this is one level. Is it clear how to use this PDL at the parameter level? Bhagyadesh and Ravali, is it clear?
Yeah, Venkat.
Yeah.
You, Ravali?
Yes, Venkat.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, your voice is breaking actually, so I couldn't hear you even before.
Okay.
And the other way of using the PDL is, let's say like in the graph level parameters, we can write our own functions. So one of the function which I have shown you how to write our own user-defined functions is, if you can remember me, like the roll-up component which we have discussed like purchase amount is one of the function which is like a user-defined function, and in the roll-up we are calling in the if condition, as well as when the if satisfies we are calling the purchase amount by passing the input as a parameter. So these are like a user-defined functions, how to define and how to call that. So let's say like we have some user-defined functions at one of the parameter, and let's say one of the parameter, and this is a local parameter, and in this parameter I have written a logic or an user defined function. I will just give you the template how it will be: out colon colon function name of arguments, and is equals to the period. And so this is what the logic I have written for the parameter p1. So if you wanted to access this function in the parameter, then definitely we have to go for PDL. So let's say this function will return the timestamp or like a sequence number it is going to generate it. Then I need to utilize this function. P2 is another parameter I have it. I have the local parameter. So to call this function name, again we have to go for set this P2 parameter, the interpretation as a PDL, and write this logic. Always the PDL has to be written in this braces only, dollar braces. Then you call the function name with the arguments. So this is how to call the function name. So let's say the function name is um, and it will not take any of the arguments. So this is a function name in this case. In such a case, for the parameter 2, you just call it the return date. So by default, it will return the date with the timestamp. So the parameter 2, set it to the PDL and dollar. return delete. So what will happen is by writing this, the control will go to the parameter and executes this logic and comes inside this begin and executes this logic and returns this dt. So whatever the value it has been returned, that will come into this dollar return date and gets the value to this p2 parameter. So this is a one way of using with the functions whenever we wanted to trigger any of the functions. So this is a way you can write it. So most of the cases, these are the two possible cases we will use it for PDL. So is it clear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Venkat,
Yes, yes.
we are assigning that to P1, right?
What
The
is?
value of user-defined function value.
Yeah.
We are returning
We
to
are
P1 or
calling
not?
that P2.
Yeah, means we are directly calling the function.
Yes, yes.
Then what's the use of that P1 over there?
No, where you will write the this code. Somewhere it has to return, right?
Yeah.
So that is why we are using this P1. One of the parameter there you are writing. So at general, I am giving the P1,
So
but the parameter name and the default we have here is like ABDML definitions. So this is one of the parameter we have it, ABDML definitions. So there you write it and you write it your own parameter and call it here. Here just it's a code. It is not getting any of the value here. Whenever you call a function, then only the value will get resolved.
okay.
So is it clear now? The possible ways of using this PDL?
Yeah, Venkat.
Okay, you Ravali? This is one way
Yeah, Venkat.
and this is the other way of using this. So here every parameter has its own values. So we are just using that values in one of the local parameter where the parameter is defined with a PDL. And if a functions are defined, then it has to be called in this way. Okay, then we will discuss about the concept of presets. The presets are called as parameter sets. So let's design a small graph. So I have an input file and let's say a small transformation reformat we are applying it and an output file. The transformed data we are sending to the output file. One second, be online. Okay. So now you have to tell me what all the things the mandatory things you wanted to set for these components. Can you tell me? For is it
DML
an input
6FR.
file and a reformat component and an output
Yeah.
file? So what all you require it to set it? Put a reformat
Uh,
and an output file. So what are the mandatory things you have to set it for this? Coming to the input file.
Input file path and DML.
Path of yes is like URL and the DML. Yes, exactly correct. So and coming to the reformat,
Reformat function
pardon?
and DML.
What is that? Can you
Dot
please repeat?
XFR reformat function.
Hmm, but where you will write that?
Transform function.
Yes. Okay, XFO and
And DML.
DML for what?
DML.
Yes, yes, but where you will set this DML? This is for
Output ports.
pardon?
Output port.
Yes, exactly. DML. Okay, and the output
URL and output DML.
URL and what is the other thing you
Output
said?
DML.
Out.
No need of DML, I think. Same will come.
Yes, exactly. We don't require the DML to specify for the output because in the output file component you can go for propagate from neighbor. Okay, so let's say I have specified at d f1 dot dat at some location. So if these things, all these inputs, if I have given and are the same path, GRAM input I dot DML and XFO slash XFO slash dot XFO and the output GML here and the GRAM out dot dat. So if you're setting all these parameters, you can run the graph, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first let's say you have run the graph first time and the file f1 has 10 records and the DML has like 5 fields in the input and in the output DML you're expecting 8 fields. So you ran the graph first time with 10 records, 5 fields and expected 8 fields and apply some transformation and created the file. So second time you are running it. Is there any difference in this? Second time or third time or fourth time, you just keep running the graph every day with these inputs. Did you get any difference from the output?
Uh, no, Venkat.
Definitely no, because the same file we are reading, same transformation we are applying and creating the same output. So let's say the next day I am getting another file at the same join f2.dat. I want to apply the same transformations. I don't know how many records. Let's say this time 100 records I'm getting it. 100 records, same structure of the input file and same transformations I have to apply, and the DML could be same, and I have to create out.dat. Let's take it out one.dat. So what steps you will take place to do this?
Same. I need to change the URL path.
Okay, so here in place of f1.dat you will set it to f2.dat, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And here same as out1.dat you will set it,
Yeah.
right? That is what you are answering.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
select anything else.
No.
Okay, so let's select
Fields are same, right?
pardon.
Fields are same, right?
Yeah,
Both
the
the
structure
files.
of the file is same. The 5 fields you are coming from the input
Mm,
file and 8 fields should be the output. The structure of the file is same,
mm,
only different files you are getting it. Or else if the structure is different also, fine, that we will go ahead. So as of now, let's check it, the structure is same, just files are different.
mm,
So
mm.
let's say like you said you will be modifying the code. If the code is already migrated to the production, how will you take it?
Mm, In this case, we can write some wrapper script, right?
Mm, what you will
We
write in
can
that?
give this file name to one parameter,
Okay,
and we can pass the parameter and the URL path.
okay,
In output also same, we can define one parameter.
okay.
In the parameter, we can pass the paths so
So
that
what
whatever the file name
exactly
is, it
if the
will.
content will be in the wrapper script?
Sorry,
What exactly the content will be in the wrapper script? What you will write?
I can do export some parameter equal to path slash whatever the file name means. I will give slash. So whatever the file names over there, it will pick up.
So you are going to export all the parameters like input URL, input DML, and reformat xf4 and reformat out DML and URL of the output file. All these are the parameters you will export, and you will give giving the values for that. f1.dat, out.dat,
I
and
think DML.
similarly the same parameter and in the another wrapper script, and URL of the input file will be with f2.dat and output of URL will be
Yeah.
out1.dat, right? That is what you want to do.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that can also be done if you're like making it into generic or else. So in such a case, here I should not hardcode the values, right? In the graph level, in such a case, one thing. So what are the
Mhm.
parameters we discussed? So can't we make it like the parameter names? So instead of writing these the objects directly like f1.dat or reformat.xf4 or a DML. So at the graph level, now you know how many parameters you want it. So how many of the inputs are passing? Two from the URL and the DML I need to specify for the input file, and two parameters for
One,
the
two.
reformat except for under the output DML, and one for the output file. So you define the parameters. So the parameter names at the graph level. So to define the parameters at the graph level, press F11. So a window will get opened. There you define the parameters. So let's say input underscore URL is one of the parameter name, and input underscore DML is another parameter name. So these two parameters I'll be using for input file, and or empty except for is another parameter name, and mg out dml is another parameter, and output URL. So these are the 5 parameters I have at the graph level. So press F11, a window will get opened to define the parameters at the graph level. Then you write whatever the parameter names you want it. And all these parameters should be input parameters because we require the input from the developer. So you are designing the graph. Let's say you're designing the graph and I'm using this graph. In such a case, I just wanted to create a preset for this graph. Again, I no need to make the changes on the graph. I just have to create a preset on top of the graph and utilize that. That's it. It should be generic. If you're defining the values at the graph level, that will not be a generic case. So let's say Bogras has developed the graph. I and Ravli have to use that in my module as well. And at the same time, it has to work for the Bogras module also. Then in such a case, he has to develop these parameters at the graph level and just make it like to be set or something, whatever a meaningful name you give it. It gives like the developer or the person whoever is going to use have to set the values and make it all these are input parameters. So whenever you make this as an input parameters, then only these parameters can be accessible at the preset level. If you are making that as a local parameter, the parameter will be available at the graph level, but it will not take the input from the preset. Whatever values we are passing from the input parameters, these values can be accessed by the local parameters. So in the previous example, as said, P4 is a local parameter and P1, P2, P3 are input parameters. So if you are creating a preset for this graph, you can able to give the values for P1, P2, P3. Based on the values you have given, P4 value will automatically get resolved. So that is what the difference for the input and the local parameters. Only to give the values from the developer perspective, whatever they want it can be given for the input parameters only. So if you want any of the local parameters at the graph level, you can still even give the parameter name. So I don't want now, as of now, for this requirement, all these are the input parameters. So now once you design this, press F5. So once you have given all these parameters, press F5, which will create a preset for this. So and a different window will get opened once again, and now you give the values. Let's say now this preset is p1.preset. So I will be giving the values whatever I have given here. For the p1.preset, input URL will be f1.dat and DML will be i.dml, reformat xf4 will be rf.xf4 and reformat out DML will be o.dml and out.dat. So all these values will be part of the preset p1. So at the graph level, what you have to do? So in such case of URL and the DML, whatever it is expecting here, you have to give like, let's say, okay, here only I'll write. So URL have to be defined like instead of d/d:/f1 dot dat, you just give dollar input underscore URL parameter. That's it. And the DML will be like dollar input underscore DML. So automatically whatever values you are passing from the preset will get replaced with these dollar values. Now this graphs makes generic. Similarly for the XF4, you give it reformat XF4 and the DML will be dollar reformat out DML, and here the URL will be like dollar output dot URL output URL. So if I'm going to design another preset, you just save it with the another preset p2.preset, and here you give the same parameters with the different values like input file f2.dat, output file output URL out1.dat. So when you are executing this preset, the output file will get created with this name by reading this file. And if you are executing this pset, still the same graph will get executed by reading f2 toward dat and creating out1.dat. So by this we can make generic and however the psets you want, how many files to read and how many files to write and what kind of the xf4 you want to make it and the dml, everything can be make it generic. So for p1.pset, I want to read with 5 fields of DML and make it 8 fields of output. And for p2, I want to read input DML 20 fields of the file and create 15 fields of output DML. That can also be possible. Whatever the want, you can just select the file, input file on the DML. The graph will take care of that because it's completely a generic because we are using a dollar braces, dollar parameters. So this is the benefit of using the pset. Same thing what you are doing on the wrapper scripts can be make it with the pset, and you can schedule the psets even. So did you get what is an input and the local parameter and what is a pset? Why do we go for pset? Is it clear, Bhagiraj and Ravali?
Yeah.
Yeah, Venkat.
Mm.
So like this,
Venkat, is
you
it
can.
possible to show on
Yeah,
graph
yeah.
level?
Tell me, Bhagiraj.
No, can we see this how to run the presets on graph level?
How to?
Means GD, can you able to show me this in GD?
No, presets we cannot create in this version.
Preparing. Mhm. Okay.
So that is why I'm just explaining that theoretically. But whatever the steps I have given, the same steps. You press F11 and give all the parameters and the values you can set it to be set based on the strings, based on the data type, and you save it and then close that window whatever you have opened for the parameters and press F5. A pset window will get opened. Then you save the pset whatever the name you want by giving the values. And again, if you wanted to save all the psets, just open one of the pset and do save as by giving the values what all you require it. Process is same. There is no change in that.
Okay. And for example, I have two presets.
Okay.
So usually to run the graph, I will go for run button.
Yes. Once you open the pset, also the
Then
same run button will be there.
okay.
A graph without pset,
Mhm.
the same run button, and a graph with
Okay.
pset, also same run button. So in such a case, instead of opening the graph, you double click on the pset. Automatically a graph will get loaded and another window on top of that graph, that is a pset, will be opened. Once you click on the run button, what all values you have for that parameters in the pset will be taken and get resolved at the graph level. So once you click the run button, then definitely you are going to see
Okay.
the graph how it is running it by taking the values from the pset. So whatever so far you have
Okay.
hard coded the values at the graph level, you are making it generic. That is what using the psets. Same run button you
Okay.
have to execute. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Clear, Bhagiraj? No?
Yeah. Yeah. Clear.
Okay. You, Ravali, any doubts for you?
No, Venkat.
Okay.
I'm just
So
trying to follow.
okay, okay. Yeah, maybe if you have any doubts also, you can reach to me, Bhagiraj and Ravali. So now
Yeah.
we have completed according to the course content all the topics. So it's time for you, like you can ask any of the doubts which you have it. So silence
No,
means
Venkat.
you understood
As of
everything.
now, as of
No.
now, I don't have any.
Pardon?
Yeah, same with me. Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, until and unless I start doing it, I don't think I'll get any doubts.
Yes, yes, yeah, that's correct. We have to start practicing.
Yeah. So that's why I was asking you this morning, right, about the VMware and XP.
Yes, yes. Once you
I
install that,
uh,
they can help you.
yeah, I was trying to get VMware, but I don't have license or anything yet, so I'm just trying it.
No, no, no. Go for trial
I'll let
version.
you know in a day or
Go for trial versions.
yeah, that's what I have to do now. I'll just let you know in a day or two. If not, I'll let you know by the weekend.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So you Bhagirash clear?
And Venkat, give me, yeah, Venkat, give me your address so that I can book a, I mean, pen drive for there.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
I need to take all these documents.
Okay, okay, fine. So maybe whenever you started working, also if you have any doubts, you can reach to me.
Yeah.
I'll try to resolve your doubts.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. And Venkat, for Abinitio installation, how much RAM do you need? I mean, do we need?
Just a basic of 2 GB is also fine.
Okay.
So once you get that,
And the recording.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Once you get that VMware and the XP get ready, I can help you in this.
Hmm. XP Home is fine, right?
XP?
Home version, not
Yeah,
the
yeah, fine, fine.
professional.
No, 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 fine, fine. That
Okay. Okay. I'll try to get and I'll just text you so that whenever you're available, we can go with that.
okay, okay, fine, fine.
Because yeah, I have to practice. We are not getting. I mean, at work, I was told that there are no available keys or licenses. I don't know what they call, but
Yes, yes,
they
yeah.
are not
Nowadays
available
it's
right.
getting problem actually. Even we do have the same at our work. So few people have joined and we don't have the licenses for them still after 3 to 4 months also. I don't know because they are putting
Okay.
hold. Maybe same for you also.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's what is happening. So they are saying until and unless someone leaves, they cannot give that key to. I mean, they
Oh,
cannot give that assign that key to.
oh, okay. Yeah, even same for us also. A couple of people have joined and they are ideal from last 4 months because we don't have the keys for them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's why I just wanted to install on my laptop.
Okay, okay.
And for the recordings, you just let me know what you need or if I can do anything, I'll
Yeah, yeah. Maybe this
you know.
week we have like this week and next week we have couple of holidays, so we have planned for vacation. So maybe once after that I can
Okay.
come back to you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, just you text me whenever you need anything
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
on that.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So can we close off the sessions then?
That's it, Venkat. I don't have anything.
Anything else, Bhagirash?
Yeah, Venkat.
Yeah.
No, Venkat.
Oh, okay then. It was a great discussion for you so far. And so all the best for your career then.
Thanks, Venkat. Thanks.
So whenever you have any doubts, you can reach to me. Whatever the help I can do, definitely I will provide from my side.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Venkat.
Thanks
Thanks.
a lot,
Yeah.
Venkat.
Thank you and all the best for your career.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.